gives you some things to ponder and think about as you decide whether or not to step into the ring that many times ends in a draw. And the ring being somebody that disagrees with you politically. I've had a couple moments with people that have very strong opinions politically. I've had to just stop and stare at them kind of blankly, just looking at them as they're stating their opinion. I just want to listen to them, but also give them the idea that I'm not stepping into the ring. I know I'm not going to convince them. And I think many times we enter these conversations with this drive of needing to be heard, and for some reason thinking that we're going to convince another person that feels very, very strong about their opinion. I wonder if we can be a little bit more life-giving in this. And that is, start with listening and say, hey, tell me more about what you believe. Tell me more about what you think. Tell me more about why you believe so strongly about that. Get to know the person, because there's so much behind that, so much gold of really getting to know the person and understand what's driving this strong opinion. That can be such rich conversation rather than just shutting it down by saying, well, no, I disagree with this and I disagree with that. They may not be ready to hear all those things, and all you begin to create is division between the two of you, and it ends with all these big feelings. I encourage you to show a heart that is truly curious about the other person. So be curious about what their beliefs are, where they're coming from. There's a lot of history to that. There's a lot of story to that you can explore. And then know what you believe. That's the big one. Know what you believe, why you believe what you believe, and not have your goal be that they have to believe what you believe, but that you're sharing in a very clear way, in a very life-giving way, what it is that you believe. But it begins with you listening, taking that step to say, hey, tell me more about where you're at. I have a brother-in-law that's very, very opinionated, and my sister-in-law as well. Early on, I learned that I need to listen to them, listen to where it is that they're at politically, and I've enjoyed asking them questions. The first conversation I had with them, we got locked up. I felt my emotions going up. And then I did say, I don't think we're going to convince each other, are we? That's not what this is about. So then I started to ask questions. And now it's been so much more life-giving in our family gatherings to listen to where they're at. And then they'll ask me questions. So what do you think about this? And then I get to share. And we get to be on this journey of exploring our beliefs and understanding one another's beliefs, and having deeper conversations on that. And I'll ask them questions about earlier on in their lives. And I've gotten to understand some of the hurt, some of the frustrations where they lost some of the trust in a certain either policy or belief. And it just helps me also know how to love them well. So be a good listener, articulate what you believe. And if it's your teen that's saying, man, I can't believe you guys believe this. You guys have not been enlightened or awakened to the fact that this is a problem, and they feel very strong about something. Again, go into the deeper beliefs, ask them questions. They'll be threatened by that. I know it can be scary that your teen is kind of going off on this other side. Understand where they're getting some of that information and ask them questions. Hey, so how'd you come up with that? Where'd you get that? And then guide the conversation. The more life-giving you can show that you don't need to be defensive about any of this, the more they become curious about why you feel so confident, and you don't need to convince the whole world about it, but that you're coming in a confident way and in a loving way with those beliefs. When you're wanting to share those with other people, it's really about loving people and not needing to convince them. If a child or somebody makes fun of your belief or criticizes your beliefs, try not to go to defensiveness. I know it's tempting to go there, but there's something else behind that. Maybe that's time to just exit for a moment, or maybe changing the subject and moving another direction. It's just not a good place to start to spar with someone else because they're coming with a different intention. I know these are difficult conversations. It's really good to look at how Jesus handled political conversations. Go to those stories in the Gospels. Notice that he asks questions, and he doesn't begin to spar with other people. Rather, he goes into the deeper place of the conversation with others. If you enjoyed what you heard, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you leave some comments. I love to hear from you. I want some questions so we can dialogue back and forth. This is a conversation with you. See you again soon.